I've been holding back on you. Let me fix that. Hi, my name is Sarah, and my channel is all about sewing and styling a handmade wardrobe. If this is your first time viewing my channel, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I have several makes that I haven't shared with you so far from this year. I've been working on my winter module, and I'm happy to report that I have finally finished it. I actually just finished it yesterday, so hopefully that video is going to be coming to you next week. But there were quite a few pieces for brand ambassador projects and just other things that I made that I haven't had a chance to share with you yet in a makes video, so that's what we're going to do today. So the first two pieces that I want to talk about are a loungewear set that I used for my Minerva brand ambassador project for January. Now, quick story time, I did not intend to make these pieces for this project. When I requested the fabric from Minerva, what I had in mind was to make my husband a sweatshirt. But what I realized when the fabric came in the mail is that I remembered that Minerva has these requirements for you to get the fabric for free. You're supposed to write up a post on their website and then include a variety of pictures and some different kinds of poses. And it's also a good idea to post to different social media channels. And I just thought my husband is not going to want to do this. Now, I worry sometimes on my channel that I make it seem like my husband isn't very cooperative, and that's not the case. I'm sure that if I asked him to take a bunch of pictures that he would do it. But I just feel a little bit bad because he didn't sign up for this, I did. And so I just didn't see myself asking him to take some time out of his day to take a million pictures and some of them have to be in certain poses and this and that. And so I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna hold on to this fabric and make something else for myself. And then I did actually end up going back to Minerva and ordering more of that exact same fabric in a different color to make him his hoodie so that I can just make it for him, give it to him with no strings attached. So the fabric that I was sent is from their core range, and it's called Heavy Fur Back Sweatshirt Stretch Knit Fabric. It is an absolutely luxurious, wonderful fabric. It has this furry back, just like it says, and it's so soft and so incredibly warm. It's a really nice fabric. The patterns that I made were both from Pattern Emporium. This one is the Grab a Cup of Cardi, and I also made the Urban Pants collection. I did a haul a while ago of a bunch of Pattern Emporium patterns that I had bought in their Boxing Day sale, and I was super excited at that point to get some of them sewn up, and so I decided to make these two pieces into a loungewear set. I am a Pattern Emporium affiliate, and so if you make a purchase using my links that I use in the description box, I will get a small percentage of the sale. Just full disclosure on that. Let's talk about the cardigan first. So I made a size 6 in this, which is one size down from my actual measurements. I decided to size down because I've heard several other people who've made this cardigan say that it comes up very oversized. And so I think that sizing down was the right choice. I still have plenty of room to move around and it's easy to layer over other things. So I would also echo those recommendations that you should size down probably one size from your body measurements. There are a lot of different views with this cardigan, but I chose to make the cropped version with the tapered hem. I did shorten the sleeves, which is a standard thing that I need to do because I have short arms. Because this fabric is so thick, it doesn't have a ton of drape, so it does tend to kind of stick out from the body, but it's so warm and cozy that I don't care. I feel like this is the perfect loungewear piece. It is one of my favorites actually ever since I made it. I've been wearing it so much, in fact, that I just noticed when I was putting these together for this video that I have stained both the cardigan and the pants, and so I need to get on that and try to get some stain remover on it to get it out. But that just shows you how much I've actually been wearing this set. Now for the Urban Pants, this uses the same fabric except for the waistband. There's a little piece of athletic knit that was a scrap that I had left over from making leggings several years back that I got from Joann Fabrics. Now for the sizing on this one, I cut a size 10 and I graded up to a size 12 at the crotch level in order to make more room for my thighs, and then I graded back down to the 10 at the knee. For this version, I made the high rise with the tapered leg, but I ended up cutting in between the full length cutting line and the cropped cutting line. That was simply to deal with the fact that I'm 4'9", and so I always have to make length adjustments. I chose not to put pockets on these because for loungewear pants, I never use pockets. I need pockets in my pants when I wear them outside the house, but for at home, it doesn't matter, so I just left them off. Now I do want to talk a little bit about the sizing on this one. So my fabric, the furback sweatshirt knit, did not have the required amount of stretch that the pattern calls for. I think that they asked for a 4-way stretch, and I can't remember the exact percentages, but mine was not anywhere close to that. So in order to compensate, I sized up in the pattern. So my body measurements would have put me in a size 8, and that's why I chose a size 10 because my fabric had less stretch than it was supposed to. If I had used a fabric with enough stretch that was recommended in the pattern, then I would have cut out my normal size. The other thing that I want to note about this is that although I made the high rise, on me they're not very high rise, they only come up to my belly button. But that's a pretty common adjustment for me. I think that my torso in that area is long for my size. And so if I actually wanted it to be high rise, I would probably need to increase the rise by about 1.5 inches. However, because this was a loungewear set, I'm perfectly happy with having it sit just under my belly button. I feel like that's pretty comfortable. So I wasn't too stressed about it, but I did just want to note that the pattern is not actually high rise, at least on me, just in case you wanted to make the pattern and so that you weren't surprised by that. So definitely check the pattern pieces against your own body before cutting it out, just to make sure that the rise is where you want it to be. If you've never sewn pants before, I think that the Urban Pants collection is an excellent starting point because it is so quick and easy to sew, especially if you leave out the pockets. Because you're doing like a yoga style waistband and you're just stretching it and serging it onto the pants, you don't even need to insert elastic. It's just so quick and easy. I think that you could probably get it all done in a couple of hours from start to finish. So if you're looking for an easy, cozy loungewear pant, I do highly recommend the pattern. I think that it's really good. So just a reminder, as a Minerva brand ambassador, I did receive the fabric for free in exchange for posting about it on their website, and I will link that post down in the description box in case you want more information. The next piece that I want to share with you is the Victory Patterns Francis top. Now I made another version of this in a different color for my winter module, so you will be seeing that later. But while I was at it, I decided to go ahead and make this one also because I had a black turtleneck that was ready to wear in my wardrobe, but it was kind of worn out and stretched out. So I decided to retire that one and replace it with this one. For me, a snug-fitting black turtleneck is just a basic that I will wear all the time until it wears out, so it was a really good piece to add to my wardrobe. This is a pattern that I have made many, many times before, probably at least 10 at this point. I can't remember exactly how many that I've made, and it comes with a ton of different versions. So this particular version has the mock turtleneck and the long sleeves, and I'm pretty sure that the sizing that I ended up with is I make a size 0 at the shoulders and at the chest, and then I grade up to a size 2 at the waist and just carry that down to the hem. I'm also sure that I ended up shortening the sleeves. I don't know exactly how much, but probably around 2.5 to 3 inches. That's pretty standard for me. Now I did end up adding a tag to the back of this because I have made this mock neck version once before in a different fabric, and I can never remember which is the back and which is the front, and I always end up putting it on backwards. And so I decided for these two, this one and the other one that I just made, to go ahead and stick a tag in the back so that I wouldn't have that problem anymore. Now the fabric that I used for this top is the premium merino jersey that I got from the fabric store in their Black Friday sale. I absolutely love this fabric. It's one of my favorites. And I got a few questions about this fabric from people, so I thought I would just go ahead and tell you how I treated it. So when I got the fabric in the mail, I pre-washed it on a delicate cycle and then dried it on low. And then when I actually cut out and sewed and made the top, ever since then, I go ahead and wash it in the machine on delicate, and then I just lay it flat to dry. I have quite a few merino jersey tops using that exact same fabric, and at this point I haven't experienced any shrinking or pilling or fading by doing those washing techniques, so I think I feel pretty safe about machine washing. Your mileage may vary. I did make my husband a couple of merino jersey tops as well, and he does his own laundry, so I'm 100% positive that he just throws his in the normal washer and dryer cycles, and he doesn't seem to have any issues with his either. So I think that it's a beautiful quality fabric, and it doesn't even need to be treated in a super delicate fashion, so I would highly recommend it. So I know this isn't the most exciting article of clothing to talk about, but I do think that it's going to end up being one of my most worn because it is such a great basic and it's a perfect layering piece for where I live in the wintertime. The next piece that I want to talk about is from Vicky Sews. This is the Kaya blouse. I made this as part of my brand ambassadorship for the month of February. The fabric that I used is a linen rayon blend that I got from the fabric market, and then this contrast is just a little scrap of linen that I had left over that I got it from Joann's last summer or the summer before, I can't remember, and I just had a little bit left over and I used that for the collar stand, and cuffs. So for this shirt, I made the size 34, which is one size down from my measurements. However, this shirt is supposed to be pretty oversized, and so I felt pretty comfortable sizing down. I did shorten the sleeves 3 inches, but I did not make any other fit adjustments. Now, I will say that the bust darts are a little bit too high for me, and I'm assuming that's because I sized down. If I were to make this over again, I would move the bust darts down a little bit, probably about an inch, and then it would fit me a little bit better. And also, if I'm being super nitpicky, it's maybe ever so slightly tight across the upper back. I really need to start making broad back adjustments. I keep saying that I need to do it, and then I won't actually do it. I really need to start actually doing it. I think I could probably stand to add maybe another half an inch or something across the upper back just to make it a little bit less tight when I move my shoulders. Now, I really love the color of the fabric. I had bought 3 yards of it, and originally I was going to make a jumpsuit, but I'm looking more at making separates these days, and so I decided to use it to make this shirt, and then I still have plenty left to do something else later on. I've never bought from the fabric market before. I think I got the recommendation for the shop from Viv Mom Sews, I think. And the fabric was a good price, and I would say it's okay. I think the quality is probably similar to what you would get at Joann Fabrics. It is a teensy bit scratchy. I'm hoping that over time it'll soften up with wear. But it's by no means a bad quality fabric, and it's not that I don't want to wear the top or anything. It's just I've used nicer linen rayon blends before. Now, I thought the instructions for this one were really clear and easy to follow. I think that the tower plackets turned out really nice. I have done that 1 or 2 times before, but I thought the instructions were really good and probably wouldn't trip up somebody who'd never done it before. I do like the contrasting details that I added, and the black buttons add a little pop. I wore this shirt to work last week and I got some compliments on it. The color is just so cheerful for this dreary time of year that we're in, and it puts a smile on my face whenever I pull it out of my closet. Now, I can't say right now that I would make another version of this shirt, and that's simply because I would like to stop making relaxed fit shirts at this point and add some more fitted shirts to my closet, but I do think this is a really nice pattern if you were looking at checking it out. I did receive the pattern for free in exchange for posting about it on Instagram, and I have a code for 20% off if you are interested in any English language patterns from Vicky Sews. You can use my code Sarah for that discount, and I'll put a link in the description box below. So the last 2 pieces, I don't have them here to share with you because I very recently finished sewing them, and so they're in the wash, but I do have some pictures and video that I will insert. So this was my February Minerva brand ambassador project, and what I chose to do was I wanted to make a nightwear set. So I ended up making a robe and a nightgown, and let's talk about the robe first. The pattern that I used was New Look 6233. This is for a wardrobe pattern that has unisex sleepwear, so that has lots of different pieces in it, but I used the robe, which I think was view D. I made a size extra small, and I shortened the sleeves by 3 inches, but I did not make any other fit alterations. This pattern was super quick and easy to sew, very straightforward. I actually ended up using my regular sewing machine for quite a bit of it, like the bands and the tie, because even though it's a knit, it doesn't really need to stretch over your body, and so I just used a straight stitch for some of the sewing, and I also used my serger for the exposed seams. The fabric that I was gifted is the Minerva exclusive Tiger Paradise Loopback French Terry stretch knit fabric. And it is an absolutely gorgeous print. It has this sort of jungly green background, and then there's some little orange tigers and pops of color with flowers in the fabric. It's a really, really fun print. And the base fabric that it's printed on is super, super cushy. Like French terry can vary a lot. Sometimes it's thinner and sometimes it's thicker. This one is a really, really thick, cushy, warm fabric, so it's perfect for a robe. I don't really see myself sewing this pattern again simply because I don't think that I need more than one robe, but this one was a really good pattern and I would recommend it to others. Now for the nightgown, I chose to make the Paper Cut Patterns Maya, which is a cami and dress pattern. I chose to sew a straight size 3, and I shortened the dress by 3 inches. I made the knee length dress version, and then I went ahead and shortened that 3 inches to bring it a little bit above my knee. And I also ended up shortening the strap length by 3 inches. Now, because I was doing this for a Minerva brand ambassador project, I added foam cups that I got from Amazon just for modesty purposes. If I were going to make just a straight up nightgown that I'm wearing to bed, I wouldn't bother, but I knew that I would have to take pictures of this, so I went ahead and added those foam cups. Now, because I knew I was adding that padding, I did not do a small bust adjustment. However, I actually did need to do the small bust adjustment even with the foam cups. So if I were going to do this over again or make another version for a nightgown that doesn't have the cups, I would absolutely need to do a small bust adjustment. The fabric that I used for this one is another one from Minerva Minerva's core range. It's called Viscose Poplin Fabric, and I used it in a red color. It's an absolutely beautiful fabric. It has a nice weight to it, and it's not too thin, it's not too shifty. I did go ahead and used Best Press when I was pressing out the fabric to make it a little bit more sturdy and easy to cut. And the fabric really behaved itself beautifully. It was easy to sew, it didn't stretch out of shape, it didn't snag. So I do highly recommend the fabric. I think that it's a really nice quality. Now, paper cut instructions are normally really good, and I would say that for the most part for this one that they are good, except for one thing, and that is at the end they just tell you to hem the dress and they don't tell you to let it hang, which I found really bizarre because the skirt of the dress is cut on the bias in both the front and the back. So I went ahead and let my nightgown hang for 48 hours before I hemmed it, and I think that that's a necessary step. I don't understand why they didn't tell you to let it hang. Now, I think that this nightwear set is absolutely beautiful and it looks really nice in the pictures. However, I will say that I don't think I would ever wear this dress as something to wear outside of the house. I wouldn't make another version in like the longer length or anything, because my personal feeling is that bias cut is really unforgiving and it just shows all of your lumps and bumps and it just makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think it's totally fine for a nightgown. I don't have any issues with that. But as far as making it as a dress to wear in the summertime, I probably wouldn't do that. Or if I did choose to make the dress again, I would make it in a print because I think that would hide some flaws a little bit better than the solid that I used. So that's what I've been up to lately, except for my big winter module sewing project, which if you haven't seen the video about my plans, I'm going to link that one here, and I should be back next week letting you know more about those pieces.